Me. There's an episode of General Hospital that aired a few years ago, and I don't think a big enough deal has been made out of it. In this episode, which is clearly sponsored by KFC, Colonel Sanders, who is at the time played by very tan actor George Hamilton, comes on, and this one woman on the show and this other woman on the show, one woman's trying to make the other woman feel better, and she's like, I have a friend coming by, and then meanwhile they're eating KFC chicken. They're like, this is great, you know? She's texting with him, and she's like, I'm texting with the Colonel, and she's like, the Colonel? Like, talking about it that way. And then you have to you look it up on YouTube, okay? And then he comes over and he's like, Maxie, good to see you. And you're like, what the fuck is happening here? And the other woman has to be like, oh my God, this is the cool, like, this is a Colonel. Like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And first of all, I think about these actors all the time. And I think about when they open those scripts. And I don't think that they have time for table reads because they film soap opera so quickly. But just thinking about them looking at the scripts and being like, these motherfuckers act with Colonel Sanders. Anyways, and then the plot is that he's like in town, but so it's kind of weird. He's like in town visiting Maxie because he's friends with her, but then also he has to find a place to hide his secret recipe because I'm not making any of this up, because the syndicate is coming and they would kill him for the secret recipe, which is like, the thing about KFC is like nobody's like, what's the recipe? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, you can get better fried chicken anywhere. Like, that's not why people get it. They're not like, because it's got this secret recipe and I've got to try it. So anyways, so then he's like, can I hide it in your place? And then also the other woman, the woman who's like truly going through a trauma, like her husband is like away, like at a war or something. She's like a journalist, and she's like, Colonel, I have to write this down. I have to put this in the paper. Like, people are gonna love this. And he's like, this is a secret. It's like so stupid anyway. And then
Wait,
he's
what's
like,
the secret?
he doesn't want people to know the syndicate is after him for a secret recipe. So anyways, then he's like, do you have somewhere where I could hide my secret recipe? He has it in like this dinky little envelope. Okay. And then Maxie's like, I have the perfect place. And she just, in her living room, just opens this book that has like one of those books that's like actually a box, but it has like, it looks like a book. Yeah, a hollowed out book. And she's like, I've got this. And he's like, perfect. And then she puts it in there, and then they close it. And then it's like, he's just like, well, I've got to be on my way. And it's like, what the fuck was that? And nobody talks about it. And I'm like, this is the most egregious product placement I've ever seen in my entire life. And I can't believe it wasn't made, like, no one talked about it. And it's just like, and I will say this, and then I'm almost done, okay? I will say this. Soap opera fans like deal with a lot. Like, people come back from the dead all the time. A new actor will play the same character. Like, it'll be a new person like the next day, and people will be like, ugh. Like, it just doesn't matter to anybody. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like this is John. You know what I mean? They test you and they test you and they test you. And the audience takes it and takes it and takes it. But at a certain point, you can't have Colonel Sanders come on the show. That's all.
That was amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.